so feel you're a worthy investment, which if you're an artist, I'm just going to give you a word to the wise. The way that you prove that you're worth the investment is to do the work.
Yep.
Well, back with CT, the Urban Cowboy, and Cowboy Talks. Today we have Jay from the Antidote Agency. They do really dope shit. They're the antidote to you being a lame artist, is what he said. No, he didn't say that. I'm just joking. But Jay, welcome.
What's up? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, where are you from?
Man, that's a good question. I'm from all over the East Coast, man.
Yeah? How so?
Born in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, man, it's cold up there.
When I was 3, moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was in Atlanta for 2 years in elementary school.
Okay.
Back to Philly, and then the DC area. DMV.
Man, you just got flavor all over the
everywhere,
place, didn't
man.
you?
Yeah, bro.
So you're exposed to a lot of culture?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That was one of the biggest things. My influence is all over. Multi different cultures. You know, at the time when I was in Atlanta, it was just a melting pot. People from all
when
over
was
the
that?
place. 91, 92.
Not that we're going. Oh,
yeah, I was a kid, man. I was
cool. What do you remember?
Oh man, I remember that's where I got in love with music, man. I mean,
Who
Criss Cross just came out.
There you go.
I put my clothes on backwards, went outside.
No, you didn't, bro.
And then I went right
you
back
did
in
that?
right away.
Oh yeah, you went right back. It couldn't have been comfortable.
Nah, me and my brother were like, let's try this out. And stepped outside. I was like, nah, go back inside.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But yeah, man, just fell in love with music at that time. You know, and that time it was before like Atlanta is what it is now.
Okay. Was there a local scene there?
For sure. I mean, Criss Cross was from there.
Okay.
But you know, that was a different era. You know,
right.
Jermaine Dupri was like the biggest thing there at the time.
Yeah.
It was before Outkast really got big. But yeah, it was just a different.
Outkast started like what, 96, 97? Yes, they started making some noise.
94, 95. Yeah.
Yeah, locally down there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
They got like national. Yes. Outkast is such a big influence.
Oh
to me.
Man, me too.
So that's like they're kind of like urban country. Like that's where a lot of the influence came from on my end too.
Yeah, for sure.
So Philly, what was Philly like?
Man, Philly was.
And why did you return there? Right, you went there twice.
So so my dad, we went to Atlanta. My dad was going to grad school at Georgia Tech.
All right.
So yeah, he worked for the Navy. So we moved down there. He was in grad school. Went back to Philly where his job was.
Okay.
And because he was Navy, the base relocated to Maryland. So we left Philly in '96. But Philly was great, man. Like that was, again, coming back from Atlanta. I was a kid.
Yeah, Philly though. Philly does like, it's still got that city feel, kind of like you get in Atlanta. What do you remember from Philly?
So Philly, it was just, you know, playing sports, man. That's all
it's sports town, isn't
all day, playing football, basketball.
So you an Eagles fan?
No, Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah.
True to the core.
Got to stick with the hometown, but yeah, but I do like Philly baseball.
Isn't that boy
and
I love losing Super Bowls? I mean,
we lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, but Bruce is actually from here, man. Yeah,
from here.
I was honored to serve him a couple drinks a few times when I was a bartender.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really nice guy.
Yeah, great guy.
But he's just savage on the field.
Man, talk about it. Yeah, he was a monster.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Philly, go to the DC area. DC is where you were in high school and growing up.
Middle
school, is that where you
kind
of like became a man?
For sure. Yeah, so I got there right before high school.
Okay.
So my 4 years of high school. DC is different, you know. Like all these cities are different, especially the areas I lived there.
Yeah, they're very metropolitan.
It
like
is.
Their public transportation system is top tier.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it really is. If you learn the metro, you can get anywhere quick. You don't got to worry about a car. It's amazing.
That's how I learned the city, man.
Yeah,
the metro. Getting the bus transfers, you know, but DC has go-go, right? The influence of go-go. I don't know if you're familiar with go-go, which is, you know, basically, I call it a live DJ. You know,
right.
They recreate songs that are on the radio with a lot of percussion, you know, the Congo. And I thought it was like think about country. I thought it was country music because where I live was a little bit outside the city.
Okay.
And everybody in my high school was in a go-go band. I'm like, what is this go-go? Is this country rap? Like, what is this? Come to find out, it's really from DC, and you know, that influence is big. But you know, again, just different genres, being exposed to different types of genres. But it always comes back to hip hop for me. You know, like that's when I was in Atlanta as a kid, what I fell in love with. When I went back to Philly, I was recording the radio. with a cassette player.
Yes, sir, dog.
At 9
People don't
o'clock.
remember doing
Yes.
that, bro. Waiting, just waiting.
Wait till 9 o'clock.
You hear the intro.
Yep.
Oh,
That's it.
hit that button and record. Oh my!
And then
goodness.
my whole week, I got my mixtape, my
Yes,
playlist.
sir.
That was our playlist.
And then eventually those things play out, and the freaking ribbon gets stuck.
Yeah.
You don't know the struggle
for sure. Or taking old tapes from my mom and putting a little piece of paper in it so I could record over whatever she had.
Oh, that's so dope.
It was crazy. But yeah. So I mean, but then going to DC, it was 96, 97. So it was Pac and Big, and and then there was that whole East Coast, West Coast thing. And DC is such a melting pot where you had half of my friends that was Pac fans, the other half was Biggie.
Oh yeah.
In Philly, it was straight Biggie.
Of course.
I mean, yeah, Pac.
Philly's heavy on the East Coast.
But the New York, exactly. New York is close.
And there's so many. I mean, there's so many New Yorkers in Philly.
Exactly. So it was different.
You definitely went to some of the most cultured East Coast cities. That's for sure. Especially with that urban communities that they have, man. It's so dope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because Gilly the Kid's from there. I love Gilly and Wallow and all them.
So. Major Figures, man.
Yeah,
I still talk to Dutch. I don't know if you did Dutch from Major Figures.
Oh, okay, that's dope.
Yeah, I keep in touch with him. So.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
So how do we get to Hampton Roads?
So I moved down here for my family.
Okay.
And I was an artist, by the way. I did music for many years. Mainly when I was in DC.
Yeah, well, you didn't quit, did you?
No, I mean, I still dabble, but I'm not fully focused on
dabble.
it. Yeah, you got to.
Yeah. It's like going to the gym.
Exactly. You don't want to lose it. But
that's so dope. I definitely want to hear some music.
Yeah, for sure. So, having that backdrop, when I moved down here, it's for my family. So I was like, okay, my wife wanted to get somewhere different, somewhere new. We had a young daughter at the time. And so I was like, all right, let's get somewhere that's more suburban, but still city. And I was working for the Navy at the time, and I got a transfer down here as a civilian.
Right on.
To move down here. But I left all my connections in DC, studio, producers. I was doing a monthly showcase.
Well, you didn't leave them. They're just up there.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I came down here leaving all the connections, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And thinking I would never do music again. I'm cool with it. Because it was a sacrifice for the family.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But it's crazy how we fast forward.
That is so dope. Yeah.
But that's part of the story is as I came down here for the fam,
what did that feel? What did that feel like? Like making that decision to, in your mind, because we're men, right? We are kind of short sighted on certain things, and I could understand. My heart kind of went shit. I don't know what that would feel like, bro. But for the fam, I'll do whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like whatever.
For sure.
But what is that? I mean, what was that moment like?
I didn't really think too much about it because when you got a daughter, I mean, those that have a daughter, we talk about men who have a daughter. It changed my life when I had my daughter.
Period.
And when she was born, it's like it's not about me, you know what I'm saying? It's about her. And so just knowing, I thought if I had a son first, I want to be closer to her, get him a little rough life, not rough, but get him a little tough around the edges, right? But my daughter was like, no, we're going to the suburb. We're going somewhere nice.
Oh, bro.
We're going to be far away from everything.
Oh, bro.
You know what I'm saying? You want to protect.
Yeah, I got 4.
So. Yeah, so
and I got my son last, and it's funny because this is how I sum it up. Because this is kind of a statement that I say that will say this will tell you what I love my son. I love my daughters.
Yeah.
I'll die for my son.
Mm-hmm.
I'll die next to him, all that stuff.
Right.
But I'll kill everybody for my daughters.
That's it. 1,000%.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? My son, I'll make him kind of. I'm not gonna per se rescue him, but I'll rescue my daughters every time, no matter what.
You have to.
Second, I held that little girl, man, and it was weird because I had a moment where I was looking at my kid, and I could see my face on their face when I was and it was the weirdest thing, and I was just like, I've never loved anything in my life.
Yeah,
and it was the best.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
especially as a first child, my daughter. So I didn't really think about it, man, but I was like, you know what? That's what it is. This is a better situation. Because we're trying to get closer to the city in DC or somewhere else.
And that also comes with its own headaches and traffic and all that.
And the cost of living.
And this is very kind of, I say it all the time, this is it is a small, big city.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And I love it. And it's really cool for a family out here because there's so much, because there's the military and everything, there's so much. We got cool aquariums. We got a lot of shit for kids to do. Expect Williamsburg, you just got to drive sometimes.
The beach, just the
beach. Even DC is only 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It wasn't too far away, but it was either up there, but I had no job offers. It was crazy how it worked. I had 3 here and none back there. So I said, well, this is God saying,
saying, come on.
So I said, all right, we'll go down there. And they paid to move us down. In 2016, came down in the fall.
So how long until you got into music?
And so because I was still dabbling with music, I still was working on a project at the time when I moved down here, and I had met some people randomly. I met an artist that needed some help with a video, and I came down here like I want to say 3 months before I got the job offer down here. So they just kind of the steps were already in progress to meet some people. He was connected with a studio, if you guys know G-Man.
Yeah, of course.
So their studio,
Terrific. Yep.
exactly.
Yep. I've recorded. I
So
love
he was the
Terrific, man.
first one I think I recorded with
He's
when I moved
awesome,
here.
man. He's
Yeah,
a great artist too, man. He
super
puts on a
dope.
show, man.
Yes, sir. He does.
Yes,
And
sir.
producer and engineer, like he does it all. So it was great to meet him, and so I was still doing music and recorded with him, a few artists, and but again, it was just I wasn't really connected here. You know what I mean? So I didn't really go into the scene as an artist. I just kind of finished a project I was working on in DC when I moved down here. Didn't really do a lot with it, but then I just started meeting some people. You know, meeting some artists and going to the studio, seeing other artists, and I said, man, there's a lot of artists here.
That's so much talent.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing the history here, you know what I mean, of course. But it just made me realize, like, wait, maybe I can do something different. I don't have to be the artist and in the front with the mic. I can help some artists.
Okay.
So it started with management, you know, doing some management for the artists that I helped with the video. And then seeing that that wasn't really me, the day-to-day trying to grind it out, like it just wasn't me.
Babysitting.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, there's some of that.
I mean, like, I managed artists too.
It's some of that, but it was more. It was more just, you know, the day to day, and just, you know, when you have a vision as an artist, knowing what it takes, the other artists don't always be on the same page, and so it's like I can't force you to do it, and I don't want you to do it. Just
and it's hard to
because it's
have
my way.
patience. Yeah, it's hard to have patience though, because like
Exactly.
you're asking me and then you're refusing my way, but you're not willing to do your way at least. Like
Exactly.
let's at least
Meet
fail
somebody.
forward, because a lot of artists are scared to fail,
Right.
and I can understand that. But you know, as my manager too saw, like I will perform the same for 2 people as I will 200, and I'll give you the same energy,
For
and
sure.
I'll sing my song, and because I always think about perfect practice.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna show up to the basketball court, bro, I'm not gonna half-ass lollygag and underhand throw it at the hoop the whole time, bro.
Right.
I'm gonna get in my head like I'm on the Chicago Bulls in the '90s, and Jordan just threw me the ball.
That's it. Yes,
and I'm gonna try
sir.
and take the perfect shot every time. So
Yeah.
and that's but there is no fail. So everybody needs to understand that failure is the cost of success. Like that's why they say, oh, 10,000 hours, you're a master of something. Like if you're a master of something, do you think that you were great at it the entire time?
Right.
So I listen to some of my first music and I go, oh.
Yeah.
I recorded my first song on like a gateway computer, to where I was like playing the beat and then recording it on this mic, and it was like a little stick mic. It was just so funny. Those gateway computers came in those cow print boxes back in the day, when you could get 2,000 free hours of AOL.
Right. The kids are like, what?
So Antidote Agency gets born circa
2023.
Wow.
So it was a few years later.
So we're 7 years in out here.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, going on 8. No, actually going on 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016. But yeah, so the agency just kind of got brought up as I was meeting different artists and seeing the scene, or looking at the scene here and just saying, okay, where can I add value? And I realized, like, I still had connections in DC. I still, you know, knew some people here, starting to get to know some of the folks here, and just trusting my ear, you know, like we talked off air about that. The fact that I have this ear, being in these different cities, trained my ear.
Absolutely,
in the era,
absolutely, because you know what plays where, what's catchy. You know a catchy melody when you hear it, because the same melody will carry
exactly.
At all, and you know what songs play at all places. But then there's songs that play regionally. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
Just the way.
In the era where regional was important, and also we're consuming music at that time, late '90s, it was not cassette, it was CDs.
Yeah.
Or it was physical copies.
Yeah, physical copies. I mean, it was hard buys. There was a lot. I mean, it was a big industry, because I mean, Best Buy made money off that. Your local record stores made money off that. Like everybody, bootleggers, bro. Like there's a lot of money that music goes through. You know,
for sure. Yeah, but I mean, just that physical copy, and you had to buy it to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, it was all about the marketing, and then you know, you got it open and listen. Like, well, this song is good, or this song's gonna be the hit. Like I could tell that pretty easily too. And so just learning from that, and then getting here, it was I could bring something, because like I said before, I did a showcase in DC. I was doing that for 4 years straight, once a month in DC. just emerging artists, getting them on the stage, performing, getting them opportunities. And so I saw a way to do that here, but I wanted to do more than just that, which that is a big thing that we do is the live shows. But it was, let me provide resources to artists. That was really the genesis of Antidote Agency. And also, not only my artist name was Antidote, but we're trying to be the antidote
You
to the
already got
industry.
see, my question was
Oh,
going to
my
be
bad.
my question. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
perfect. No,
yeah.
my question was going to be, why is it Antidote? So that was
Yeah,
your artist
that
name.
was my artist name.
Dope.
And
But
then,
where's the artist name come from?
so it was given to me by a mentor of mine. And when I was in college, I was doing music.
Who's the mentor?
His
Shout
name
him
is
out.
Big City from Philly. He was on
Hey,
radio in
shout out
Philly.
Big City.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He was in the radio. And he said, man, one day he called me. He was like, yo, you're, because I didn't have a name. I was just using my name, like my regular name as I was rapping. And he's like, you're the antidote to this thing, man. Like you could be almost like a comic book, the way he set it up. Like you're the antidote to this industry. Because of the content. I was all about content and what I would
Yeah,
say and
absolutely.
lyricism and all of that. And so I changed it when the business started. Was we're going to be the antidote to the industry,
Okay.
and so that's kind of how we take it.
And what does that tagline mean to you?
So to me, it means being the difference, the change. Sort of a cure, which is the antidote, right? You're curing. But
And
the
how do
industry
you
is
guys
so
cure it? How do you guys give the artist the cure to the industry?
yeah. So there's so many different things that the industry provides. Some good, some bad, right? And so we're trying to bring as much good as we can. Like I said, we provide resources. So whether it's studios, whether it's connecting them with the right producers, or the live shows, which again, that's the biggest thing that we do.
That is a huge thing for
and
sure.
and what we do is we do rehearsals. We tend to really take our time with the shows. We don't just put anybody up there. You really have to
I mean,
be
you definitely don't. You guys have a big
right.
show coming up at the beach with
We do.
I'm not sure, but if everybody don't know, I mean, I know that there's Little John and he's the king of crunk. I'm gonna tell you right now, I've never been to a Waka Flocka show and it not
Yeah.
been turned
Oh,
to the
for sure.
maximum.
Yes,
So
sir.
you guys got Waka Flocka coming down here for
Yeah, for
saying
the
that, oh,
vibe check.
we do these little shows. Like, you bring a
Well,
Waka Flocka down
I'm saying,
here.
yeah. I mean, we do the next wave. It's our showcase.
Yeah.
Those are the smaller shows, smaller venues. But yeah, it's just providing resources. So whether it's the big show with Waka, when we
Yeah.
get artists to open up for them, or it's the smaller shows with the smaller venues to really learn the artists, help them get better at their performances.
Yes.
And again, the resources can be a variety of different things that we can
Absolutely.
offer. But the shows are the most fun. That's where my passion
Of
is.
course. And it's a chance for you to make some money, which, hey, he
Yeah,
deserves to make some money.
yeah, we all
Artist.
do.
The man's giving you some resources. Let him make some money so he can bring you more resources. Support the show, support
For
the
sure.
showcase. It's critically important. And I say that just because a lot of artists are struggling. There are a lot of people who don't understand the true grind that it takes when you commit to this stuff. So I applaud you and thank you, especially
sure.
being a artist myself. And I gotta work really hard to support my own stuff, man. And
Yeah.
I self-funded up until I started getting paid for shows and
Right.
things of that nature. And I was showing up to showcases and paying to be in showcases. And
Mm.
it is a pay-to-play industry. You just got to be smart. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
pay for something, I always used it as an opportunity to capture content.
Right.
Like you're a manager's job is not to invest in you.
Mm-hmm.
His job is to provide opportunities
Yeah.
if he so feels that you're worthy investment. Which, if you're an artist, I'm just gonna give you a word to the wise. The way that you prove that you're worth the investment is to do the work.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because it's showing up, man. That's one thing. Like, that's why I make it in the construction industry or anything that I do, because Marine Corps taught me, like, one thing you're gonna do is show up.
Yeah.
Even if I'm late, I'm gonna own it and I'm gonna show up.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'm early.
For sure.
When I'm in artist mode, I'm usually late, but that's really on time because I'm translate. I identify as on time.
There you go. I see what you're saying.
You can't even cancel. That's so safe. That's so safe, Jack.
Wow.
No, I like to, just switching gears a little bit though. So you've got this big show coming up.
Yeah.
What's the future for Jay? What's the future for Antidote Agency?
Mm-hmm.
And where do you hope things are? Like, let's say 3 big next wave showcases from now, 3 summers from now, with everything.
Yeah, no, I think, really trying to bring more of the national acts in town. The festivals help with that, because we those are meant for that. But we want to do our own shows like that as well. And so bringing the national acts in, building relationships with national acts. When you see a lot of tours, they skip over this area, and there's different reasons for that. But we want to bring some of those artists here, or some of those tours here, and then also the resources.
Well, that's all it really takes, though. Is it takes a team that
Yeah.
can help let people know, because the reason they blaze over here is because cities don't talk to each other and support each other the way they should. It's probably the safest way I'll say it. Realistically, like this area has a lot of self-sabotage that it doesn't mean to do to itself. And I say that as this is my home, but I didn't, I became a man out here, but I wasn't born out here and stuff. And I got to see how many talented people there are. And I mean, music's why I moved out here, why I chose the last duty station I was in the Marine Corps, was because Thomas Crown Studios was here,
Oh, wow.
And I just wanted to, I understood pay to play. Like I was going to pay just to book a session to do nothing but standing there and like figure it out. I didn't care if I made a song or not. I just wanted to be where Timbaland and Justin Timberlake and all them cats were making all them hits we listened to.
For sure.
So yeah.
But no, I think the shows are one thing, but again, building upon our resources. We're really trying to tap in to different types of resources, not just let's do a show.
What resources are you guys looking for right now?
Different businesses, whether they're large businesses, got a variety of different businesses here, but even outside of the area, we want to get our artists out of the area. The best way I can put it is we're trying to build a runway, right? And you think about, like, my wife is from the Caribbean, so I think about the Caribbean, right? There was a time where they had to build a runway in one of these islands so people can land in and leave, right? Come in and visit. We're trying to do that here for the artists, but to get them out, we're going to bring some in. We're also going to get these artists out. And so that's the foundation we're trying to build. And I'm sure many people have tried that. We're still doing that.
Well, that's funny because a lot of artists, before they break locally, they break outside of here. So
for sure,
it's kind of dope. That's a very insightful strategy, because like Pharrell and them popped in Baltimore before they popped down here. Excuse me if I got that mistaken, but I'm 90% positive. Like they were jumping in Baltimore way before they got big out here. It's definitely just when you're a cool outsider and you have some good music, something else, it gets very well received. So it does work, especially if you have good showcases or good places that you can collaborate with in all those different cities. So, I'll go on the road. I love it. I'll have music will travel. That's what I say.
It's a must. I mean, if you're an artist and you're trying to reach fans, there's plenty of resources here. Plenty of people like me that do different shows and different things. We all kind of have our lane, so it kind of doesn't always cross. There's different ways you can do it, which is great. I love that about this area. But I think that's one thing that we got to start doing with these artists. Like for the Vibe Check Festival, all the artists we booked to open up for these headliners are local talent that we think are the next ones to make it out of here. And so putting that on is going to help people see that, right? They're going to say, okay, there's another festival that was here during this time. It didn't happen. Here comes another one. Boom. And we're filling that void, but we're bringing the local artists that are super talented, super dope. Absolutely. And if you don't know the artists, come see. I'm not trying to plug. I'm being real.
No, I'm telling you that lineup. Listen, what I know is Waka gets lit. But the artists they have on there, every time I've seen those artists perform, they have that same energy. So I'm here to tell you, who you have lined up there is dope. I hit you up and was like, yo, I think that's how we got here. I was like, yo, let me get on that. I don't care if I get the first opening spot, bro. I just know how Waka shows are, bro. And the lineup you had on there is just straight gas. Fire. I'm going to be there regardless. I tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can be right there with us, man. But, that's the thing is, and building those things takes time, right?
And that's another thing. Let me just highlight that. Did y'all hear that? I called him, asked to jump on his stuff. He said, it's already full. We handle business a certain way. This shit's all planned out. I said, cool. But what did I just say? I didn't get upset. I said, I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to support. That's what this area doesn't do very well, that you need to get more of. A no is not fuck you.
For sure. 1,000%.
As my brother attitude would say, it's just fuck that. It doesn't mean fuck you, and still show up and support. Because guess what? I come show support. I will be on the front of his mind when he has another show. Because that's just the way the game is. It's not only a pay to play. Pay to play doesn't only mean money. Your attention and presence also is how you pay the price. You got to be in the room.
Well, that's real, man. That's real. You know why? Because I had that on my thought as I was answering. I was like, wait, you did reach out. And that is how we conduct business. You know, it's not, some people use the term gatekeeper, right? They use it in a negative
necessary.
way. Well, they use it in a negative term. You're gatekeeping it. Not about us. I'm just saying, they may say that, I don't know, but it's not that for us, at least. It's that we have a vision. You know, we have a client, the city of Virginia Beach here, that would gracefully brought us in for this.
Hello, what you're saying right now, you have to be a gatekeeper, because when the city of Virginia Beach is entrusting you to put on hip hop events that we ask to get, let the man who's responsible keep that gate clean. And if you want to get on the show, I'm going to tell you a secret. Look at all the artists who are on that show. Look at their social media. Look at the way they move. Look at all those things. Make yourself that, and then you will be undeniable.
That's it. Yeah.
I know what I would bring. That's why I called and brought it up. And I don't care if I'm the bottom of the rung, because I still promise you I'm gonna bring out as everybody that I can. And I'm getting paid for shows. I don't expect to get paid something like that. That's just an opportunity, and that's different. Y'all gotta be able to change gears. I have a whole band too, and I would pay to bring them out of my pocket on a free slot. So that I could capture the footage and content that I was on a Waka show. Like it's all, y'all got to look at it for what it is. It's all, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. If you're present to work with, like that's why I always take care of my guys. Always, my guys always got to eat. They always got to have something to drink. They always got to be happy. I'll be happy last, and usually it's that moment that Mike touches my hand. I'll pay any. You know what that feels like. I'll pay any price. I go to ecstasy is what I call it.
Like, but no, that's real. I mean, that's the thing is
the support. That's the. I'm sorry, the highlight. That was the point. It's just support, and it's not about, oh, you told me no, so good. I'm glad you protect that show like that, because when I get my chance, I know I'm safe.
Oh, for sure.
That's what else that shows. So keep that gate clean. I'll help you out. I'll kick some people away from the gate too.
I think some people use it as a negative term, right? But what I'm saying is we're not trying to gatekeep. We're just trying, like you said, is really make it clean,
hold the line,
pick the right people. And when we announce a show, we already have everything locked up. Everything's locked in and ready to go. There's no, here's an announcement and then come line up and try to get in, or we're gonna put a bidding war up for whoever wants to get on the show. We don't do that. Everybody at the show, there's only a handful, and I don't want to say how many, a small amount that we have free slots. Everybody else gets paid. Because for us, it's also important to put money in the artist's hands.
You're also conducting real business. You're getting the city of Virginia Beach involved, and 100%. They pay. So now what our job as Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads area is to show up, support, have a good time, leave all the bullshit at home.
Yeah, for sure.
No one goes out to encounter bullshit. We all go out to escape bullshit. So if you start feeling like you got a shit, go home and go to the bathroom. Keep that bullshit at home.
That's it.
But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to that. You know, and just changing gears. I just want to. I've kind of thought about this when you said that, because like it seems like you've taken more of like a mentor role. You kind of switch gears, and I was just curious. Did your daughter and your role as becoming a father like influence you kind of to do that more, or is it more natural because of that, or is there a correlation there?
There is a correlation, I think, for sure. But I think it goes back to when I was in high school. I had a mentor. This mentor, you might know, not everybody might know. There was a group called Heatwave. They're way before my era, but a song called Always and Forever. You ever heard that song?
Oh, yes, I have.
So they, and one of the artists, a part of their group, wrote a lot of songs for Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
One of the members of that group, there's two brothers that were some of the founding members of the group, was part of my church when I was in high school. Now, he's older, much older.
Yeah,
I was like close with his kids. But he kind of took me under his wing when I was in high school, because he saw me doing the music, and
so he was
like, come on over here. Exactly. And so I learned a lot from him, and rest in peace to Keith Wilder.
Hey, rest in peace, Keith.
Incredible man. And
well, it seems like he did his job well.
The fact that he took time out of his day to talk to a young kid in high school on the cell phone.
Hell yeah.
You know, I remember just going home in the evening, and he's like, what are you about to do? I'm like, I'm going to get ready for school. He's like, oh, I'm about to go watch basketball. I'm like, just to be able to hear, like, this guy can just chill and relax, because he made money off the industry, did a great job. But he taught me a lot about showmanship. Like, serious, like in that era, again, way before, I won't say way, but much before my time, in the '70s where they're doing songs and they all had their attire was all in sync.
Yeah, I
They
mean
all
that's
had cut,
Elvis
the
days and stuff. I mean,
clothes.
70s
They
was
had
big on that.
the dance moves had to be on point.
Crazy.
When you turn, he turns at the same time. Like things like that. That in hip hop we don't do as
Because
much.
that was like James Brown. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was
man.
a different era for sure.
Yes.
And he was right up there, you know. And so
Wow.
learning just showmanship, you know what I mean? And he knew that it was a different, you know, era, different type of music that I'm doing, but he just wanted to
Still
instill
correlates
that in me.
though.
Yeah, it does. 100%.
I mean, the Urban Cowboy showmanship.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So now, fast forward to now, when I'm working with an artist, I really want to see them be a showman, you know, or a woman. You know, I don't want to just get up there, let your music play with all your vocals on the track and rap along and just stand there. Like, if you want to do that, just let a DJ play your song and don't get on stage. You know what I mean? And so I have that instilled in me, deep in me, within me. So there's that. And then my other mentor, you know, Big City, as I mentioned, who was on the radio and did a lot in the city of Philadelphia. These are guys that took their time when I was young to kind of take me aside and help me, you know, teach me some things. And it just becomes natural now. It's not even something I think about. It's just instilled in me. You know what I mean?
But it's
So
also in homage to them too.
100%.
You know, what environment you're raised around, you've got a mentor, you're going to become one.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I find myself mentoring people, especially when I was in the Marine Corps. Like, you end up mentoring a young Marine because you see yourself in them,
right?
Or you know, you see that spark and go,
that's it.
You know what? Let me feed that fire and see if that coal and let me see if that engine will get running.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Absolutely, that's dope. That's dope,
man.
So then, you got partnerships with the Antidote Agency, right? You have a partner with that, or
partners with as far as what?
Like
business partners?
Yes.
Yeah. I got two business partners, Will and Devin.
Okay.
They deal with operations. Will is mainly operations, originally from New York. Well, Dominican Republic. Shout out to DR.
There you go.
And then grew up in the Bronx and Long Island, New York. Devin is from Newport News, so he's local from this area. He's really helps with the finances. He's got a financial background. And then Will, just being around the New York City area before he came out here, knew a lot of DJs, just kind of was in that in that world, you know. And so he brings a lot of the operations to the table. And then I'm just a visionary, you know. I started the whole idea. They call me the face, you know, like, oh, you're the face of Antidote, which
there's an
which
energy,
is true.
Yeah, there's an energy, and you got light eyes, a good smile. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But you know, it's kind of a funny thing. Hey, you're the face, but so I kind of have the vision. Say, here's where we want to go, and then
you're the boardroom guy.
Exactly. I guess you could say that. And then they just help me operate and execute. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it takes a team. You know,
it does.
You got to have a face of everything. You know?
Yep.
Like look at Amazon. If it wasn't Jeff Bezos, it would be somebody.
For sure.
You know, before it was Tim Cook, it was Steve Jobs at Apple.
So that's it. Yep.
It is your baby, so it's only right.
Yeah. It's just funny. Like, it's face. You're the face. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's your rap name too. So.
Yeah.
You got to, when you getting the tattoo, don't play with me.
I gotta get the chain, man. That's what I
hey, said I want to get
that Antidote chain.
There you go. That'd be fire on a chain. I could see that.
Yeah, man. With a little bit of blue.
Cool, man. So I always like to leave it like, what is one thing that you wish a young Jay knew, a young Antidote, or just one thing that you wish human beings would do in general, or anything you want to leave the people with? Just
no, I think kind of going off of like that mentor thing. I think just caring. You know what I'm saying? Like having some reason to care, I think is always important. Whether you're in music or whatever you're doing, if you don't care, you're only going to go so far. And I think we have to have that more, but also caring about those around you. You know, whether it's the team, whether it's the people you work with. You know, I think we got to be able to have more of that, because that's where your collaboration happens.
Absolutely. Well, it takes a village, right?
It does. And if I care about what you got going on, then I'm able to help you more. If I don't care, if I'm just here for the money, or if I'm just here to really be the face and just everybody look at me, you're only going to go so far.
Yeah.
But if you really do care, if you really have that instilled within you, then you're going to help people. They're going to help you. We're really going to get that runway, like I said, built, and we're going to get people out of here, and they're going to come back and they're going to not forget about you. And I think that's really important. And when that's mutual, you know, whether it's a business, whether it's an artist and an agency or whatever it may be, when you all care, you really put your everything in for the greater good of all of this, not just myself or yourself, things can happen. You know what I'm saying? And we can really do a lot more than just little shows here and there.
Yeah,
real shows.
I love the way you're speaking, man. You keep saying we, you keep saying you pay the people. Like that's always been my secret. It's not a secret. It's good business. In construction, and everything else. Like it's
For
just
sure.
take care of the folks and people, and everybody play their role. Be loyal to the vision. It's very important. It doesn't matter what one person thinks. You know, it just doesn't always have to be my way.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as there's a way. As long as
Right.
we're moving forward. I don't care if it's a
Exactly.
rocky road. Like, I'm
That's
cool
it.
with that. That's really dope. And if you guys ever have a need for a cowboy period, if I can help in any way, dude, I'm always down.
Yes, sir.
I can build sets. I can help out with a lot of different things. So
Nice.
definitely will help, especially if it's for the local music scene. I've always tried to do whatever I could. And thank you, man. Thank you for the Antidote Agency. Thanks for what you're doing. I mean, it's life-saving shit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Straight up. And going to what you said about like caring, like being a mentor, I think it is very important because sometimes as a young person, that mentor can be your reason for living.
Very true.
You know, and you may not realize your couple phone calls that dude calling you, he didn't realize what that was really doing, but look where you're at now and what you're saying it meant. You know, so be that for somebody for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Cool, man.
I appreciate.
Well, I got a bunch of stuff to share with you. I want to play a few songs and then just chop it up for a bit off camera. Top secret shit, y'all can't know about. Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, man.
I like hanging out.